Are we on the horizon of a rematch? Welcome to NHL Wraparound Stanley Cupdate for Wednesday, May 28th, 2025. Your hosts, Vic and Neil. And the Edmonton Oilers now with a 3-1 lead over the Dallas Stars, but certainly some major injury concern coming out of Game 4.
It looks like Zach Hyman, to me anyway, and I'm not a doctor, I just play one on this show. It looks like he hurt his right shoulder when trying to defend himself against a probable open ice hit by Mason Marchment. So we'll have to see. But that would be a big blow to the Oilers to lose Zach Hyman.
They're playing so well right now, and a little bit of lineup news before we get into the game. Matthias Ekholm remained out. Calvin Pickard was indeed the backup to Stu Skinner, as we had said on NHL Wraparound on Tuesday. Connor Brown is out after absorbing the hit from Alex Petrovic, and Victor Arvidsson drew into the lineup, and Roope Hintz came back into the Dallas lineup after missing Game 3, replacing Evgeny Dodonov. So I thought early on, Dallas, after Jake Ottinger had to make several big stops early, countered very well during the course of that first period, and quite frankly, clearly, their best period in the last 3 games.
Yeah, badly outshooting Edmonton in that first period. The pucks were all around Stuart Skinner, and they were putting their best effort to strike first. I thought it was a very good period by the visiting Stars.
17 shots on goal, 38 attempts, and we don't want to go over our skis on those numbers, but that was pretty indicative of Dallas having a more purposeful attack, more forceful, creating traffic. I thought they did a lot of good things in the first period, but the bottom line is they still come up with nothing.
They still can't get one past Stu Skinner. And, you know, we talked to Ken Holland about Stu Skinner and his 5 years of running the Oilers, and of course, Stuart Skinner was part of that, and he really believes in him. So, I mean, we've always said on this show that Stuart Skinner could be their Achilles heel because he sometimes is great, sometimes is not good at all. But during these playoffs, I mean, he's Vasilevsky for the Edmonton Oilers.
I think you've been in that camp a little bit more than I have, but certainly the way he has played, and also after the start that he had to open that Kings series, to completely transform himself into the goaltender that he was last year is a story in itself.
Well, let's go back to last September, October, when you said, well, the Oilers have found their number one goalie. It's Stuart Skinner. He took them to Game 7. And I said, so that makes him their number one goalie? I don't think that makes him their number one goalie. And actually, I was right for most of the season. And then you have become right now. So I give you your props.
Yes. And if he gets them to the finals and perhaps winning the cup, I'll expect another acknowledgement.
Well, you'll get it. If they win the cup, you'll get it. But he has to win a cup before I'm going to say anything. I mean, the one interesting part about this year's playoffs is, doesn't it feel like you're back watching the same movie over again?
I think because we are at this point. Although one game remains for both the Oilers and the Panthers to win, but it certainly feels like we're on a collision course to have a repeat of last year's final. So let's move ahead in this game. After Hyman left the game with that collision with Mason Marchment with 10:43 left in the first, we're going to have a little bit of a theme here because a lot of offensive zone penalties, and they resulted in the first 3 goals of the game. So with Jamie Benn in the box for an offensive zone trip on John Klingberg, Leon Draisaitl with a give and go with Ryan Nugent-Hopkins for a one-timer below the right wing circle at 11:23. Have you ever seen a guy that proficient that he's almost money from an area of the ice that would not be considered high quality.
Oh, he is amazing. I mean, such a pure goal scorer, such a hard shot, such a power forward, all of those things. I mean, he's a franchise player every bit as much as any other, except for maybe McDavid, who's a notch above everybody.
Great point. As the period goes on, Stu Skinner kept it 1-0. Good stop on Marchment with 5 minutes left in the period. And then Evan Bouchard had a shot to make it 2-0, but missed the net from the slot with about 2:05 left. But as we said, really good period for Dallas, but they're still behind after one. So now go to the second period. Corey Perry, offensive zone interference penalty for setting a pick on Mikko Rantanen. And Jason Robertson scores a power play goal. Nice one-touch pass from Thomas Harley to Robertson. Goes high blocker on Skinner. 1-1 at 6:57. And you can see the way the Stars celebrated, that they felt, okay, maybe we've gotten over the hump here and there's going to be more to follow, which, of course, did not happen.
Well, and Jason Robertson especially was celebrating because now it's 2 goals in 2 games. And the expectations are on Robertson and others to provide that offense. And maybe now they're coming up with it. And so you could just see by the look on all their faces that, hey, here we go.
2:23 after that, Perry gets his revenge. Marchment takes an offensive zone interference penalty on Adam Henrique. Nugent Hopkins again, a little deft move after receiving the pass from Connor McDavid, slides the puck past Cody Ceci. Perry with the tap in at 9:20. It's 2-1. So as well as Dallas has played, they're in the exact same spot once again, playing from behind.
And let's make a note too that Perry might not have been in that position had Hyman not got hurt. Hyman might have been there in that position. Who knows if he would have been in the exact right spot where Perry was. But Perry gets the rest of the night on that top line once Hyman was gone.
We've also thrown our share of bouquets at Nugent Hopkins, and certainly continue to be deserved. He's got 9 points in the 4 games, multi-point games in each game of the series. And he is clearly distinguishing himself as an offensive threat in this series for a team that's already loaded.
And a playoff player. And I think when you think of the Edmonton Oilers and you said, what players rise up for Edmonton when the playoffs get going, I wouldn't have mentioned Nugent Hopkins. I just wouldn't have thought of him. Yeah. But that's all changed now.
Evander Kane left the Oilers bench late second period, possible neck issue that he was being tended to. He did return and he did skate 5 shifts in the third period, totaling 4 minutes and 5 seconds. Otherwise, the Oilers would have been playing the final period with just 10 forwards, but good that they got him back. The shots on goal, the attempts, starting to move the Oilers' way. And in the third period, I thought maybe this was the best period that the Oilers had in the entire series because it was up to Jake Ottinger to keep Dallas in the game. Made a big stop on Podkolzin early, and then Evander Kane with 6:11 left. But the killer was really the Granlund offensive zone trip on Leon Draisaitl with 5 minutes left in the game. That eats up 2 minutes off the clock and really stalls the ability for Dallas to make any sort of push in the final minutes.
Was it a good call on Granlund, did you think? Should that have been a penalty?
He did get his stick into Draisaitl's skate. You know what I call it there? I don't know. But then again, if you don't call it, the puck's turned over. That trip is affecting the play and potentially creating a scoring chance for Dallas. I think you have to call it there.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I'm never happy when the coach pulls the goalie early. And as you said, now I know they do, but I'm not happy seeing any of them do it because 90% of the time the puck ends up in that empty net and the game is over with 2 minutes to go.
You know, the goalie's already been pulled for the Carolina-Florida game tonight.
he's he's already out of the net. Yeah, well, certainly Kapanen and Henrique were happy that the goalie was pulled because they both got a freebie.
Oilers outshoot the Stars 13-4 in the third period. They allow only 15 attempts. The Stars have not led in the last 3 games. And what I thought was so impressive is the Oilers didn't sit back. They continued to attack. They wanted to make that 2-1 lead a 3-1, 4-1 lead way earlier than they actually did. I thought it was just a terrific period of puck possession and really watching this team continue to evolve and come of age defensively.
Couldn't agree with you more. And outshooting the Stars 13-4 in the third really sent a message. You have to win this game, Dallas. But guess what? You're not going to, because we're going to throttle you in the third period.
You also have to wonder how often head coach Peter DeBoer can keep saying how much he's liking his team's play. But we're in the same discussion that we've been in over the last 3 games, is that aside from Jason Robertson now, there is no production from anywhere else.
No, there's not. And let's face it, and this, what I'm going to say is obvious. You have to have production when you're playing against McDavid and Draisaitl and Bouchard and Hyman when he's healthy. But the Oilers are also getting goals from the non-stars. I mean, the 2 empty net goals. Kapanen, who was picked up on waivers for Edmonton, and Evander Kane, who missed the entire regular season. So everything is sliding in the right direction for the Oil.
These are the same signatures that we see in Florida. Even though they've not put their series away yet against Carolina, it's the secondary scoring that both the Oilers and the Panthers are getting, and it's a struggle for the Stars and the Hurricanes. Game 5 returns to Dallas Thursday, 8 o'clock, ESPN. The Stars will try to salvage their season and force a Game 6 back in Edmonton on Saturdays. And we have some breaking news on Zach Hyman's status.
And it is that the Edmonton Oilers forward is likely out for the remainder of the Stanley Cup playoffs and will undergo surgery for the injury he sustained in Game 4 on Tuesday night. This per head coach Chris Knobloch.
An enormous blow for the Oilers, but next man up mentality has to come to the fore here. So on Wednesday, Florida and Carolina, Game 5. Panthers will once again try to close this series out 8 o'clock on TNT. Injury update for the Panthers. Nico Mikkola, AJ Greer, and Sam Reinhart all skated during an optional practice on Tuesday. They are all considered day-to-day. But the thing that I'm going to be looking for here is this trend of Carolina's game continuing to elevate. We have seen the Panthers game drop a little bit in Game 3, more so in Game 4. Can they reverse that and not have to have this series return back to Florida on Friday?
And can Carolina play at their very, very best at home against the Panthers? It's hard to predict these things. I mean, especially with Mikkola, Greer, and Reinhart all out of the lineup. The other thing that's hard to predict is how is Freddie Anderson going to play in this one? We know how Bobrovsky's going to play. But this is a hard one to predict. What's going to happen here? Is it going to go back to Florida? Is it going to be over? Remember, Florida eliminated Carolina in 4 straight. Mm-hmm. The 4th one being in Florida because Carolina had home ice advantage. Yeah. And Bill Daly came out on the ice, and I was at that game when he gave the Florida Panthers the Eastern Conference Championship trophy known as the Prince of Wales trophy.
Yes. Back in 2023. So I'm going to also look to see if the Panthers are going to create more traffic in front of Freddie Anderson. And it's not like we're getting on Anderson for any reason here, but he wasn't tested. There wasn't traffic. And I want to see if the Panthers generate more pressure in this game than they did in Game 4. Because like I said, they didn't appear ready to close that series out.
They looked like they let up a little bit. They let up. It was almost like, okay, we're resting some players. And you're right. They just didn't seem to be playing the same way. And I think they're going to have to play like they played in games 1 and 2 in order to close this series out in Carolina.
Some news around the NHL. The Bruins head coaching position apparently is now down to 2 finalists. Joe Sacco was the interim coach taking over for Jim Montgomery, but doesn't look like his name is in the ring right now because it appears to be coming down to Marco Sturm, who has been coaching the Ontario Reign of the AHL and the German national team. Prior to that, he was the head coach, silver medalist, 2018 Olympics, and he reportedly also spoke with the Vancouver Canucks. And Mitch Love, past 2 seasons as an assistant to Spencer Carberry in Washington, he was the head coach of the Flames minor league affiliate for 2 seasons prior to joining the Caps. So this is interesting that GM Don Sweeney may opt for one of 2 gentlemen that have no prior NHL head coaching experience, considering how long Sweeney has been at the helm in Boston.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And, Marco Sturm coaching the American Hockey League affiliate of the Los Angeles Kings, the Ontario Reign. We all know that the coaching staff in Washington did a fabulous job this season, but both guys don't have head coaching experience. And is Don Sweeney putting his job on the line with a rookie head coach?
But with the state that the Bruins are in right now, let's say they re-sign Brad Marchand, which I don't think is going to happen, by the way. They are in somewhat of a rebuild anyway. So are you better off having somebody trying to rebuild the program in maybe not quite the pressure cooker that the Bruins have been in the last number of years?
Right, but they don't strike me as a young team, the Bruins. Yeah. But perhaps that's why they want somebody who's a teacher more than a strategist, perhaps. Someone who can work with the players and help develop the players. I mean, the NHL is not a development league, but you do have to do some developing in the NHL. So anyway, all guesswork, but maybe that's why Don Sweeney is got it down to these 2 guys.
And perhaps we have an answer by the end of the week. Also, and this is an item that actually broke on Sunday, that the Quebec government announced that the late, great Canadian captain Rocket Richard has been named an historic figure by the province. The announcement was made at the Bell Center, with the decision being made possible by the Cultural Heritage Act. Richard played 18 seasons for the Habs, 544 career goals, 82 playoff goals, which still is the most in Canadians' history. He won 8 Stanley Cups and was the captain from 56-57 until he retired in 1960. And the timing of the announcement was designed to coincide with the 25th anniversary of Richard's passing, which was yesterday, May 27th.
And also, I would remind everyone that Rocket Richard has a trophy named after him for the player in the league who scores the most goals in the regular season.
Had you ever met him?
I probably did. I can tell you that when I played for the Drummondville Rangers many, many moons ago, our team was honored by having Henri Richard come into our locker room, and we met Henri Richard. Now, I have a very distant memory of that, and I might have met Rocket Richard, but I will tell you that Pierre Lacroix and Coco Lacroix, Pierre, of course, who passed, the great general manager of the Colorado Avalanche, they were related to the Rocket Richard family.
Mm.
Yes. And another little bit of trivia. Do you know the electronics outlet called PC Richard and Son?
I do.
That actually, although not related that I know of, his actual name is P.C. Richard. It's French. I do know, because I know one of the family members of that store told me that it was actually pronounced Richard, but of course, being in the States, they call it P.C. Richard and Son, but it's really P.C. Richard.
Rocket Richard, when the closing of the Forum took place in March of 1996, and he received that 8-minute ovation from the Montreal Forum fans. That is still my favorite night of my career, working that, and the largesse of the Rocket and all the great Canadians there was something I'll never forget.
Nobody does historical nights better than the Montreal Canadiens, in my opinion. They honor their history so well and do so many things. They really laid a foundation in the way they did their locker room, and that was done decades ago, in the way that they honor their players. It's just the very, very best franchise for that.
History. Nice segue.
This day in Stanley Cup history.
All righty. Well, so we go back to 2013. Justin Williams, Mr. Game 7, scores both goals in the LA Kings 2-1 win over San Jose. In Game 7 of the Western Conference semifinals, he scored both of his goals in the first period. You want to know how old we are? Or you want to know how old these players are? One of the goals was assisted on by Drew Doughty and the other by Anze Kopitar.
Wow.
It was Williams' It was Williams' fourth career 7th game, and he scored at least one goal in all of them, becoming the first player in NHL history to do so. So, a little bit of a shout out to Justin Williams.
Mr. Game 7.
That will do it for our show for today. Please subscribe, like us. Our website is NHLWraparound.com, and Neil and I will be with you on Thursday to recap Game 5, Hurricanes and Panthers, and look ahead to the 5th game that will be taking place in Dallas as the Stars try to stave off elimination against the Oilers. Take care, all.